It's been a great week so far. Speaking of DTE Energy, the sponsor of this program, up next we have Jerry Norcia, who is the CEO of DTE Energy, to have a conversation about the growth of nuclear power in Michigan and how it can be a critical component of our baseload energy. And I'll tell you, as someone who grew up about 5 miles away from a nuclear power plant, it is not only a provider of baseload energy, but a great provider of employment for everyday Michiganders. So Jerry, Kevin, look forward to this conversation.
Welcome. Get in the hot seat. It's a hard seat to get into.
It is. I'll pull this back a little bit.
Right?
All right.
Drop in there.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for sponsoring this. This has been a great opportunity to hear from people.
I was listening to the prior one. All very interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. And it's been great up here at the conference because so many people are here and active, and everybody's out and about. And I think some of that's because of the election. It's not always for the policy, but the policy is important.
It is very important.
What are some of the things that, what are some of the goals for DTE up here?
Well, certainly we're trying to educate policymakers on great work that our company is doing to really transform the way we produce power, as well as transforming the way we deliver power on the grid and making that much more reliable than it's ever been. So we're investing really heavily in both areas and in a historic transformation, really, for our company. You know, we're really reinventing the way we produce power and also automating, modernizing how we deliver power to our customers to make it much more reliable and affordable.
Yeah, how hard is it to sort of transition and still keep costs down? Because just the whole idea of it, it's expensive to switch over.
It is expensive, but we've done a remarkable job, Kevin, in really managing bills for our customers. When we look at, and this is really important for us, is really reliability, safety, and affordability are three sort of pillars of our strategy at DTE, and that's what we talk about every day is those three components of our strategy. And if you look at from 2021 through 2025, our total bill increase has been 2%, like in total on an absolute basis. And that puts us in best in class from all utilities across the country, and it's something that we benchmark, so we're really proud of that.
When you talk about reliability, what are the hurdles that we see here? And is Michigan unique from other parts of the country?
Well, it's not unique, but it's been changing. So, you know, about a decade ago, we started to see wind velocities in this state above 30 miles an hour increase at a pretty high slope, like about a 45% increase over the last decade or so. And the number of days that we had wind velocities above 30 miles an hour, which meant that we had to start investing heavily in tree trimming and creating more clearance between the trees and our power systems. So that was the first investment, and then we had to make our system more resilient. So we're investing about $1.5 billion a year right now in the grid, and just to give you a sense, well, what does that mean over the last 5 years? We replaced 100,000 poles, which is about 10% of our poles. We got 1 million poles, 10% of our poles have been replaced. 15% of our transformers, about 70,000 transformers have been replaced, and 10% of our 5,000 miles of line wire has been replaced. We've also done about 46,000 miles of tree trimming. So when you start putting that all together, it starts to pay very significant dividends. So from 23 to 24, we saw a 70% reduction in duration of outages. This year so far, we're down another 60%. Now I would say about half of that is true performance of the grid, because we've cleared trees for 7 years in a very aggressive fashion, replaced 10% of our poles, 15% of our transformers, 10% of our wire, and we've also put on about 1,000 automation devices that can isolate and locate an outage very quickly so that we can get to those customers and restore them very quickly. Sometimes in seconds, you got 80% of your customers restored when you have automation. So in 4 or 5 years, we're going to have a fully automated system, and we're going to have a fundamentally different result for our customers.
Driving up here, driving up I-75, you go right through Gaylord, and they had a storm of the century. You know, the ice storm, and you talk about poles, they were wiped out. The trees that came down there. How much does a storm like that, does it set you guys back, or is that built into the planning that you're going to have?
Well, we plan for a certain level of storms every year. And usually what we do is take about a 5-year average. Now the average has been going up, and but that storm was historic, and That is a very unusual ice storm that hit northern Michigan. Now, we got hit in 2023.
Right.
That took us about 6 or 7 days to get our customers all back and restored. And I think in northern Michigan, there wasn't an ability to move enough resources here. Just you didn't have places to keep our workers.
Right.
We were sending workers up here. We didn't have the problem, but we were sending workers up here, and it was tough to find accommodations. So you can't flood the area with an army.
Right.
Like when we had the ice storm, we flooded our service territory with 4,000 people. I had 2,000 people waiting that had come from other states already, waiting for the storm to hit.
Yeah.
So when it hit, we mobilized 4,000 people and got it done pretty quickly.
Wow.
But our goal in all of this is, as we invest, of course, the frequency and duration goes down of our storms. But I've also given the team another goal, which is all major storms restored in 48 hours. So we had a couple of major storms down south already, and we're running about 99.9% restored in 48 hours. Every last customer. We track it to the last customer, and that's something we shoot for.
Is there still talk about moving lines underground, or is that just too expensive?
I love everything being underground. You know, in the gas business, everything's underground.
Right.
And when the wind blows, nothing happens.
Nobody knows.
Right. So I love when we can put stuff underground, but it's very expensive. We're trying to get the cost down. We did an experiment in Detroit where we did about 5 miles of undergrounding, and it's running about $2 to $3 million a mile, which overhead is about $1.5 million. So if we can get that cost even remotely close to that number, I think we'll start doing a lot more undergrounding. So the team's experimenting, the engineers are trying to engineer cost out, and ultimately the best solution is put as much of this stuff underground as we can, where it makes sense.
You were talking about the wind knocking the trees down. Is there enough wind for wind to be an energy source here? It
is. I mean, we're the largest wind operator in the state. We produce power with wind. We got approximately $3 billion of wind assets already deployed in the state. Right now we're deploying solar technology. We're building thousands of acres of solar panels, and at the same time also building battery systems. So if you look at our plan overall, I'll just maybe take a minute here to explain it to you. We are really transitioning our fleet from a heavy coal fleet to renewables, batteries, nuclear. We want to expand our nuclear plant. I can talk to you about that. And we're also going to build natural gas plants. We built one a couple of years ago, and it's running like a clock.
Yeah.
And we need to build more gas plants as well. So natural gas, nuclear, solar, wind, batteries. It's a very balanced portfolio that pays huge dividends for our customers, so you're not over-reliant on one resource or the other.
Well, nuclear is really clean, and it's really reliable.
It is.
So how do we move in that direction?
Great question. So we own and operate Fermi 2. It's a 1,200 megawatt nuclear reactor. Powers about 1 million homes, and has been providing power to the state since 1985. So it's been in service for 40 years. We got a 20-year extension, so we're going to run it for another 20 years. We're also looking to expand the output of this reactor. It's one of the best, by the way, it's one of the best operating nuclear reactors in the country. We're just recognized by our peers as a highly effective and safe and reliable asset. And so we're proud of that, and I'm proud of our team that helped make that happen. But we're looking to expand it, and it's about $1 billion investment. But we need enabling legislation that allows us to make that kind of investment. In Indiana and Virginia, they've passed legislation that actually supports the expansion of nuclear in their states, and we want similar legislation passed here in Michigan. So that one of the things we're up here talking to legislators about is really the expansion of nuclear energy, and it'll certainly be the expansion of the existing asset, and then ultimately small modular nuclear reactors that you've heard a lot about. We've got a license to build another nuclear plant down at Fermi, and we're exploring the feasibility of building small modular nuclear reactors down at Fermi, and I think it's very possible once they become commercially available.
So you said safety is one of your pillars. The word nuclear just scares people. What should people know about nuclear and why it is safe?
Well, we've never had a serious nuclear accident in the United States, and it's because of all of the safety measures that have been in place to protect, protect the asset, but most importantly, protect the people who operate the asset and people who live around the asset. And the amount of, I can assure you, the amount of redundancy and the amount of engineering with these assets, it's a near impossibility to have a problem. Very, very safe, and the community in Monroe loves us there. They love the fact that we're there. We employ 700 people down at Fermi, and we're making massive investments, which creates property tax base and benefit to the community. And we're highly engaged with the community, and we appreciate the fact that they're hosting us there.
Do we feel that we can continue to push to solar and wind and keep reliability up, or do you need a mixed approach?
You got to have a mixed approach. Renewables doesn't exist without nuclear, gas, and coal. You have to have the base load. So when you think about our industrial base, and even just our residential base, I mean, we're a 24/7 operation. We're available to our customers on average between 99.9, 99.97% of the time. I mean, we're almost a flawless industry. We have very high standards for reliability. We can't have intermittent resources rule the day. I mean, we love solar, we love wind, but we love coal and gas and nuclear just as much because that keeps the grid alive. Without that, the grid dies.
So can the grid handle all of this, the new things that are coming on? You talk about AI, you talk about EVs. There's so much new technology coming so quickly.
It's so the interesting thing, it really doesn't come very quickly. I think the opportunity has presented itself in a very quick fashion. But even data centers, which we're in deep discussions and negotiations to bring data centers to Michigan, that's going to be tens of billions of dollars of investment in this state, that, in addition to our billions of dollars of investment that we're making. And we're so excited about it because it does two things. It just creates a technology sort of investment ecosystem that'll be unparalleled in the country if we do it right. And it'll also drive electric bills down. And we're going to build the power plants to do it. So we're going to need to build solar because they want solar, they want to be green. We're going to build battery systems, but we're also going to build gas and nuclear. And that's how we're going to support that. And we'll stay ahead of them. It's going to take them 5 to 7 years to ramp. And it takes us about 5 to 7 years to build power plants and build assets, other assets to support it.
So as we need it, we'll continue to build.
We'll build it.
Yeah.
And if they, and we'll time it so we don't get ahead of them. And we'll protect the rest of our customers. And actually, it'll drive bills down because that much juice flowing through our wires and our systems will actually push bills down for the rest of our customers. So we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
And huge property tax benefit to where they invest. You can imagine if put a $10 billion data center in a community, it's going to be the largest property taxpayer in the community.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Build schools and fire stations and roads, and it drives all kinds of economic development.
Do you get a lot of that not in my backyard?
Not so much with data centers because they're like a big warehouse. It's sort of like building a FedEx or Amazon warehouse. You know, they millions of square feet of buildings, and these things are quiet. They don't make any noise.
Right.
And we'll put them in an area where they won't. They're looking for land where there's already industrial activity.
Yeah.
And close to the electric infrastructure because they pull a lot of juice. Yeah.
So what is the legislation that you need to get passed? What are the roadblocks? What are the hurdles in front of it?
Well, we're really happy that we got the sales and use tax exemption passed for data centers because as soon as that happened, I mean, the level and intensity of negotiations with these parties just went way up. And you can imagine all the big names. They're all here. They're all,
oh, yeah, I know.
And they're here at this conference, too. And so that got done. I think the next step is really the one that we're pursuing, two pieces of legislation. One is carbon capture, enabling carbon capture and storage. So when we produce carbon from natural gas plants, we want to be able to capture that and store it underground. So we need that legislation to move. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for us to retire coal. And our coal plants are really old. And we want to move towards more modern, more efficient, cleaner natural gas technology with carbon capture and storage. And so we'd like to move that legislation. So we're working on that hard while we're up here. And my team's in front of me here. They're the ones, you can see the two of them that are working it. And the other piece of legislation is this nuclear legislation. Like we want nuclear to grow in Michigan, and we're one of the largest operators of nuclear in the state of Michigan, one of the few operators of a nuclear plant. So we want to build the future for nuclear.
So it's educate everybody, let them know that it's in the best interest of everyone in the state.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what party's in office, who's running the show. It's all good for Michigan.
It's all very bipartisan stuff. I mean, the interest to grow the state, replace assets with high quality, efficient, reliable, and affordable assets is what we do.
All right.
Kevin, Jerry, thank you for this
Thank you.
conversation.
Appreciate
and
it.
Jerry, thank you
Yep.
and the team at DTE Energy for sponsoring this stage.
Our pleasure.
Live from Mackinac, sponsored by DTE Energy.
Right.
We are going to take a break. We'll be back at 11:55 for more enriching conversations. This has been a great opportunity to hear from all the stakeholders at this conference and to present you, our Michiganders, with an insider's view on this conference. Let me just tell you what is coming up on the main stage between now and 11:55. We're going to have a conversation with Austin Goolsbee, who is the president of the Chicago branch of the Federal Reserve Board, and also a former economic advisor to President Obama, to talk through the economic opportunities and challenges that we're facing in Michigan as a nation right now. Following that, actually this is coming before that, we're going to have a conversation with members of Michigan's congressional delegation, Representative Bill Huizenga and Debbie Dingell, some of our long-serving members, and two first-termers, Congresswoman Kristen McDonald-Brevet and Congressman Tom Barrett. So we're looking forward to that rich conversation. We will be back here at 11:55. This is live from Mackinac, presented by DTE Energy. We look forward to continuing this conversation.